Catwoman Hunted. It's your boy Icon, and we are going over some animated DC TV / movie. Catwoman Hunted is the review for today. And this was a very interesting one. It officially drops, if I'm not mistaken, on Tuesday. I believe that's February the 8th. So Tuesday, you can definitely check it out. It should be on HBO Max, but then it'll also be on Blu-ray, etc. But we were lucky. We were able to get a pre-release, version of the film. Thank you to Imaginative Visions podcast member Justin. And now we're going to review Catwoman Hunted. So in this particular film, it's very retro, and I like that. I like the fact that it's very retro. And it had like the old school feels, like with all the old school music and everything. And one thing I will say about this, they kept it true to the Catwoman character, because when the movie starts, it's Selina Kyle basically sneaking in to a fancy high-class party full of rich people, where Selina basically, like, she's not going to rob from the rich people. Her motive is always based around cat-related jewelry. There's a emerald called I believe it was the Cat's Eye, or the Emerald Cat's Eye, and she wanted to go in and steal that particular jewel. This movie name dropped a lot of DC characters. I mean, first we got Tobias Whale. He was at the party. Black Mask, he was there at the party. We even got Minerva. We got a Leviathan reference. There are a lot of people there. And Catwoman, says she's doing her thing, like she's going through the party, she's making the rounds, she's being sexy and everything. And ultimately her goal is she snuck into the vault because Tobias Whale, Black Mask, and Minerva, the three of them came together to exchange a little business regarding the emerald. So they put the emerald in, like in the safe. And then, of course, Catwoman does the cat burglar thing where she goes into the safe. She uses the powder to see like the laser sensors and everything. And then she sneaks in. She ends up getting the emerald. But before she gets the emerald, a batarang basically landed on the podium and sounded the alarm. So Catwoman ends up running, everybody at the party's chasing her, like she's fighting everybody. And then, when she gets to the end, because they chased her all throughout the city, all throughout the town. When they finally got to the end of the chase, she defeated everybody that was chasing her. But then, towards the end, her car got flipped over. And then when her car got flipped over, because Batwoman of all characters, it's like we didn't get a Batman reference. We got Batwoman, but we knew Batwoman was going to be there from the trailer. Batwoman shows up, she ends up like running Selina off the road. Selina crashes, and Batwoman takes the emerald and returns it to Minerva and Leviathan. Spoilers, by the way. We're doing a lot of spoilers here. We're definitely doing a lot of spoilers here. And after that, so Batwoman, she returns the emerald because it's not hers. Like she's doing the hero thing. And then when, they end up having Catwoman in her clutches, then we get another character, which was Julia Pennyworth, who played on Batwoman. Julia and Batwoman are working together. Obviously, Batman has something to do with it too, because, that's Julia Pennyworth for Christ's sake. And they had this whole conversation where they knew, like, because Catwoman robbed Minerva, they knew Minerva wasn't going to let it go, and they knew Minerva was going to try to take her down to get her revenge. So what they ended up doing was they decided to use Catwoman as bait to draw Minerva out so they can take down like the larger scale of her operation. Batwoman, man, they did Batwoman dirty. Like in this film, they did I'm not gonna lie, they did Batwoman dirty. There was a moment where, like Julia Pennyworth and then like, MI6 or whatever, wherever she's from, whatever organization she works with, they told Batwoman to watch Selina while they were going off to do whatever it is that they had to do. So all she had to do was just watch her. And then they do the whole sexy scene where, because, Batwoman's lesbian, they do the whole scene where Catwoman comes on to her, she gets naked and gets in the bathtub, and then she's in front of Batwoman, and then Batwoman allowed Catwoman to take her mask off, and I was just like, what are you doing? So now I'm just like, does Catwoman know that, Kate Kane is Batwoman? Well, I guess she does know, because she made a comment earlier where she said, like, there's a whole flock of bats that hang around in a cave in Gotham. And I'm just like, if you said that, I guess you have to know who Batman is and who everybody is. But I'm like, damn. I'm like, let the woman take the mask off in front of everybody. I'm like, yeah, what happened to protecting the secrets? And then I'm just like, the kitty cat, can do some crazy things and some crazy people. So she lets Batwoman let her guard down. And then she jumps in the then she teases her, she jumps in the thing. So they end up, they get to their destination, both of them jump out. When Selina gets to the roof of where the big Leviathan, because Julia Pennyworth, her whole thing was her organization, they were trying to take down Leviathan. They wanted to get like the head, they wanted to get Minerva and the leader of Leviathan. Like that was their goal, that was their main plan. So when Catwoman got to the warehouse where they ended up doing their Leviathan business, the hit that was put out on Catwoman, that Minerva put out on Catwoman, because the thing about it is, although Minerva got the jewel back because Batwoman gave them the jewel back, she wasn't going to let that slide. She was like, Catwoman still tried to rob me, so she was just like, yo, $1 million to whoever kills this bitch, or however the money was. So now the entire League of Assassins, they're on their way to kill Catwoman now to get revenge for Minerva, and which brings in our next character, which was Cheshire. And I gotta go back and check, but the voice actress that voiced Cheshire, I believe it was the same voice actress from Young Justice. And like that was cool because the way they drew the character, they drew the character exactly how the character does look on Young Justice. So I was like, so that was cool. This movie was also very female character heavy, which I did like, because there are a lot of these characters, especially the female characters, that we don't get to see interact too often, and we got a chance to see a lot of them interact. So Cheshire and Catwoman had a cat fight, and then, Batwoman showed up, and then it was 2-on-1, and then Cheshire had this cool line. She was just like, it's called the League of Assassins for a reason, and then like another female came out of the sky, but this one had wings, had like bat wings or whatever, and it was like a female man bat, almost like vampire type thing. She said her name, but I forgot what her name was, but we've never actually seen her before. But then when I saw she was like half woman, half bat, I was just like, is this some like, Cobra shit? Because Cobra does the gene splicing, with the different animals and everything. So I was like, are we in Cobra territory? So then there's like the four of them get into a fight, like they're battling it out, and then they all end up going crashing through the roof. And then when Minerva and, Tobias Whale and Black Mask, when they see all of them, it's like, oh, kill them all. So now this big shootout happens. These weird monsters came out of nowhere. Like this one character, she ended up calling forth like these crazy monsters. So I was like, that was different. And then, like after that, they ended up taking everybody out, and then they took everybody out, and then they defeated Black Mass, they defeated Tobias Whale, they defeated everybody except Minerva, who actually wasn't there. So all is well. And then Catwoman was like, well, you basically told me that I was here to get I was basically here to be bait, be a distraction. She was like, I was here, I was your bait. You basically took down their entire operation, although you didn't get Minerva. But she was like, yo, I earned my freedom. And then they were just like, yeah, you're right. They were just like, you're free to go. Just don't kill anybody or don't get into any trouble. So then, Catwoman, like, she's chilling on a roof. But then the League of Assassins is still trying to kill her because, Leviathan, like, if Minerva's still out there, Minerva still has the hit out on Catwoman. So she's still trying to take Catwoman down. So while she's trying to take Catwoman down, Batwoman came back to help her because she was just like, oh, I knew the League of Assassins wouldn't leave you alone. And then, like after that, the two of them kind of like teamed up. And then Minerva shows up again. And there's another fight that happens, this other big fight. And then we find out that Minerva, who was the leader of Leviathan, is actually Minerva, who's also Cheetah. Because she did this transformation where she went, because even when she was like a regular woman, she had like the pointy cat ears, and I peeped that, and I was just like, well, that's kind of weird, but then she did this transformation where she went from like regular woman, she ended up turning the cheetah that we know, red hair and everything, although she was like 9-10 feet tall. And then that was scary because if you go back and watch that scene, the faces that they drew on this cheetah when she was chasing Catwoman, that shit was creepy as like they did a good job of like making that like real, like you actually felt like that intensity and that scare. Like I can't even lie, and then she, so she chases her throughout the building. Catwoman, she got all cut up and she got beat up or whatever. She ends up taking Minerva down in the end, and they actually killed her, which was crazy. Solomon Grundy showed up at one point. Solomon Grundy was fighting Batwoman and fighting, Catwoman. They cut off Solomon Grundy's head, this thing was very rated R. It didn't seem like it was supposed to be rated R, but it was very low-key rated R. Catwoman and Minerva, Cheetah, they all fell off a building, and then Cheetah crashed and landed through some spikes, and I'm like basically died. Batwoman, saved Catwoman before, she hit the ground. But then when Interpol showed up and was arresting everybody, they took away Grundy's body, and then they took away, like Cheetah's body, and then they put an inhibitor collar around Cheetah's neck, and I'm like, why y'all putting a collar on that? This bitch is dead. I was like, do I not know? I was like, do we not know what a dead body looks like? Is something gonna happen? Is she gonna come back? I was like, this is really weird. I'm like, yo, this chick straight up died. And I'm like, like the collar thing, that was weird. That was very weird, but it also said to me that maybe she's not going to die after all. And then, like one of the cops, he was just like, oh, we finally got the leader of Leviathan. And then Catwoman was like, you dumbass. She was like, do you think that was really the leader of Leviathan? And then we see a helicopter in the sky. which has Talia al Ghul in it, because Talia al Ghul, she's really the one that was behind everything, and she was really like the mastermind behind Leviathan and everything. And then Talia, she was just like, damn it. She was just like, oh, our operatives have been defeated and we need new operatives. And then she was just like, well, she's like, there's another thing I have to hate Catwoman for, the first being that she's actually the true love of Batman, and like she's jealous because Batman wants Catwoman, and I heard like I peeped that one. And then after that, Catwoman, she got her hands on the emerald after all, because while all that commotion was going on, her cat basically went on to the Interpol ship and pillaged, like the cat emerald diamond. She took it away, like Batwoman and everybody was just like, well, damn, I don't know how she did it, but the cat got the emerald, and then she took the emerald and she was going to sell the emerald for money and use the money to rescue a bunch of kidnapped, trafficked women, girls, because she said that Cheetah was basically trafficking young girls, and although she did want to get the emerald, her mission all along was to save those girls from Cheetah, and she obtained her mission. So that was actually very nice to see. So that was it. That's how the movie ended. They opened it up for a part 2 because of the whole thing with with Talia al Ghul, and I'd be down to see that. Let's definitely see where it goes. So like I said, it was very interesting, and thank you for tuning in. So that was my spoiler review for Catwoman Hunted. Overall, my thoughts, I thought it was very enjoyable. Like, I liked it. Like, I would give it like I said, I would definitely give it an 8. I would give it an 8 overall. It was nice seeing different, like I said, seeing different characters. It was nice seeing different female characters, seeing different people interact. They were allowed to use as many characters, because they name dropped a whole lot of people. Like Superman, the Riddler, like Penguin, like they name dropped like a ton of people, Harley Quinn and everything. So it was nice to see them play with that and open up that universe to be able to talk about and actually use multiple characters. The one negative about the film, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, it is what it is. But the one negative about the film was Batwoman, because the voice actress who voiced Batwoman just sounded really bad. It didn't sound natural. Like, the character did come off as like very bland and like very one note. There was like no emotion. There was no oomph. There was no enthusiasm. Like, there was no fluctuation. The character was just very like monotone and like very one notish. And they made her look stupid, but the whole thing about like allowing Catwoman to take off her helmet. But even with the voice, her voice sounded like someone who was trying to imitate what they thought a lesbian sounds like. and it was just way too deep, and it was like overly forced. But like that I mean, it takes you out of the moment for like the first couple of minutes, but then when you get used to her talking, then you don't even think about it anymore. But right out the gate, you're just like, whoa, But like I said, but that was pretty much it. Everything else was cool. Like I said, it was definitely a good animated movie, and I hope they do more animated movies like this going forward, based on different characters. Because as much as I love Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, etc., I would like to see some animated films, some animated projects about other characters. Black Lightning, maybe. Some Static. Let's do a Vixen. We got the Vixen CW animated series. Let's do more Vixen. Like, as long as they keep pumping out things like this with different various characters, like I said, DC will be perfectly fine. And the animated, section, the animated wing of the DC universe will continue to roll and be successful. So share your thoughts below. Once you watch it, like, put a comment. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about the characters. Let me know what you thought about the film overall. And we shall talk about it. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. Always on YouTube, so we can have our questions, comments, and or concerns. I got my videos for this week of DC TV coming up, because we are taking a 2-week break. But once that 2-week break is over, we'll be back to do Superman and Lois, Naomi, Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman, and we're still doing Peacemaker, which is the only show that isn't on break. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So for Catwoman, Catwoman Haunted, check it out on HBO Max when it drops this Tuesday. Holler at your boy Icon, like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, get them claws out, and I'm out this. Yeah.